John chapter 11. Now there was a man named Lazarus who was sick from Bethany, in the village. He was. He, he, now there was a man named Lazarus who was sick. He was sick. He was from Bethany, from the village of Mary and her sister Martha. This Mary, whose brother Lazarus was sick, was the same one who poured perfume on the uh, Lord and wiped his feet, um, with her hair. So the sister sent word to Jesus, Lord, the one you love is sick. When he heard this, Jesus said, the sickness will not end in death. No, it is God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister Lazarus, So when he heard that Lazarus was sick, he stayed where he was for 2 more days. And then he said to his disciples, let us go back to Judea. But Rabbi, they said, a short while ago the Jews there tried to stone you, and yet you are going back? Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours of daylight? Anyone who walks in the daytime will not stumble, for they see by this world light. It is when a person walks and not that they stumble, or they have no light. After he had said this, he went on to tell them, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I'm going there to wake him up. And his disciples replied, Lord, if he sleeps, he will get better. Jesus had been speaking of his death, but his disciples thought he meant natural sleep. So then he told them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and for your sake I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him. And Thomas, also known as Didymus, said to the rest of the disciples, let us go, so that we may die with him. On his arrival, Jesus found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Now Bethany was less than 2 miles from Jerusalem, and many Jews had come to Martha and Mary to comfort them in the loss of their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out to meet him, but Mary stayed at home. Lord, Martha said to Jesus, if you had been here, my brother would not have died, but I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. Martha answered, I know he will rise again, the resurrection of the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will not die, even though the one who believes in me will live, even though he dies. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? Yes, Lord. She replied, I believe that you are the Messiah, Son of God, who is to come into this world. After she had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary aside. The teacher is here, she said, and is asking for you. When Mary heard this, she got up quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not yet entered the village, or stood at the place where Martha had met him. When the Jews who had been with Mary in the house comforting her noticed how quickly she got up and went out, they followed her, supposing she was going to the tomb to mourn there. When Mary reached the place where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. When Jesus saw her weeping, the Jews who had been coming along with her also weeping. He was deeply moved in spirit and in trouble. Where have you laid him? He asked. Come and see. And he replied, Jesus wept. And the Jews said, see how he loved him. But some of them said, could not he have opened the eye of the blind? Could he who opened the eye of the blind could have kept Lazarus from dying? Jesus, once more deeply moved, came to the tomb. It was a cave with stone laid across the entrance. Take away the stone, he said. The Lord, said Martha, is the sister of the dead man. By this time there is a bad odor, for there has been for 4 days. And Jesus said, now I tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God. So they took away the stone. Then Jesus looked up and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me. I know that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me. When he said this, Jesus called in a loud voice, Lazarus, come out. The dead man came out, his hands and feet wrapped with strips of linen and a cloth around his face. Jesus said to them, take off the grave clothes and let him go. Therefore many other Jews who had come to visit Mary and had seen what Jesus did believed in him. Now some of them who went to the Pharisees and told them what Jesus had done. And the Pharisees, priests, and the priests and the Pharisees called a meeting of Sanhedrin. What are we accomplished? They asked. Here is a man performing many signs. If you let him go on like this, everyone will believe in him, and the Romans will come and take away both our temples and our nation. Then one of them, named Caiaphas, who was the high priest of that year, spoke up. You know nothing. You do not realize that it is better for you that one man die for the people than for the whole nation to perish. He did not say this on his own, but as high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the Jewish nation, not only for the nation but also for the scattered children of God, to bring them together and make them one. So that day on, they plotted to take his life. Therefore, Jesus no longer moved about publicly among the people of Judea. Instead, he withdrew to a region near the wilderness to a village called Ephraim, where he stayed with his disciples. When it was almost time for the Jewish Passover, many went off from the country to Jerusalem for their ceremonial cleansing before the Passover. They kept looking for Jesus, and as they stood in the temple, they asked one another, "What do you think? Isn't he coming to the festival at all?" But the chief priests and the Pharisees had given orders that anyone who found out where Jesus was should report, so that they may arrest him. Amen.